not even business. This is my first entrepreneur experience. This is what this was. My mom's shop had moved to, you know where the police station is on Broadway in North Little Rock? Mm-hmm. We passed by it. Mm-hmm. So she moved her shop behind Hess in that little shopping center. It was there. But next door to that, it was a lady who was a paraplegic. It's a paraplegic, right? Where she can only use her arm. She was in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Or she was, and so she owned a thrift store. So I walked in the thrift store one day and I saw, key point, the entrepreneur mind always looks to solve a problem. Key point. It's a key point. It's a major key. So I walked in the thrift store and she was trying to hang up clothes. Mm-hmm. But I noticed that she couldn't get to like the higher point because she's in a wheelchair. So she's sitting like this.
Right.
So she can't get to the other rack. Mm-hmm. I was like 5'2". Yeah. I wasn't that tall, but I was tall enough to get to the other rack. So I was like, hey, would you mind like hiring me? Not hiring me. This is what I said. I said, no, this is what happened. I'm thinking back. This is my story. I'm thinking about it. I didn't even ask her for money at first. I just went in to provide value. Mm-hmm. So I would freely go over there and I would hang out and help her around her store. I would help first. I was like, hey, let me hang it up for you. Let me do this. Most of y'all are not willing to go through the value proposition stage of entrepreneurship to show people your worth. Attached to that value is also proof of concept. Mm-hmm. Does your value prove that you can do it and that you can be successful doing it?
Right.
Bruh, went in, worked there for 3 weeks. She came to me. She brought in a wheelchair. She was like, Kevin, thank you for coming in. Mm-hmm. She said, we want to pay you. Like, we can't let you keep working and not pay you.
Right.
I was 12 years old, 11 and 12 years old. My first official check as a kid, my first day check, I had got paid $50 in one day for just going and helping her that day. She said, every day you come in, we paying you $50. Mm-hmm. So imagine being 12, getting $50.
That's a lot for a 12-year-old.
And the thing is consistently.
Right.
Like, I'm thinking, okay, I can go.
She right next to your mom's shop, right?
So I didn't have to worry about being dropped off at work.
Right. Like, I'm here anyway, every day.
So I would just show up. And then some days she can pay me. And in those days she can pay me, guess what? I would go over, I say, hey, can I work today? She'd say, no, not today. As a kid, my feelings was hurt. Yeah. Because I'm like, dang, she don't like me. You know, right. I'm thinking kids are like, dang, man, I must be doing a bad job. No, it was a business. They couldn't afford to pay me.
Right.
But she had a husband named Troy. Shout out to Troy and Tammy. That's what those two people made me start liking white people. Mm-hmm. I want y'all to hear it. I was raised by my grandma. My grandma was taught not to like white people.
Mm-hmm. Troy and Tammy, these were Caucasians?
White people. Mm. Yeah.
I didn't picture Caucasians in the story.
I know.
I was thinking like either Asians or black people.
That's what I'm saying. Like these were two white people. Because this is the thing. When you in poverty, it don't have a color.
Right.
Like,
it don't discriminate.
No, it don't. So I would play baseball with poor white guys. I would play baseball, and I say poor. I'm saying poor because there's a definition for poor in America. Yeah. You have to be below the poverty line. That's poor. When the poverty line be here. They said it every year. Below that is poor. We were below the poverty line. So it don't discriminate. Yeah. Everyone down there trying to get it.
Right.
So grew up in that environment. Of course, in that environment, you can't be weak. Weakness will get you killed.
Yep. Get snuffed out.
When we get to the next part of my story, somebody tried to rob me in the daytime. Mm-hmm. In the hood. And had I not shown that line of strength, they would have robbed me again. Mm-hmm. So weakness would get you killed where I'm from. Or you're not gonna last a whole long time where I'm from with weakness. And so, man, my first job was at Tammy's Wheel Save. It was called Tammy's Wheel Save, making $50 to $60. And my goal that summer was like, I want to be able to buy my school clothes and buy my brother's school clothes. Yeah.
That's crazy.
That was the goal.
And did you make it?
Hell yeah.
I know. Fucking $50 a day.
Did I make it?
Right. Like, bro, I could have worked for 2 weeks and been straight.
But I was spending too. Because I didn't have no responsibility. So I'm like, shoot, I'm making $50 now. When you're making $50 at 12 years old, that's a lot of money for a 12-year-old kid.
That's back in the 90s. Like, what? Come on, bro. I remember penny candy. I remember
$50 went a long way.
What? Woo! Like packs of gum was actually 25 cents. Like legit 30 cents, and you had a pack of gum.
Little Debbie snack cakes, bro.
Bruh.
Was a quarter.
Yeah.
For 2. You can get 2 in a pack, a quarter. Zebra cakes. Man, Buds. I used to go ham. That's why I was fat. I was a fat little kid. Yeah. At 12, man, the reason I was fat at 12 is because it's called, Nas got a great album that's called Rich Man's Disease. Mm-hmm. Imagine having Rich Man's Disease in the hood at 12 years old because you eat too many Little Debbie's.
Yeah.
Not because you begging for money, because you just going to buy them because you just want to eat.
Right.
You like, oh shit, I can afford this. I can get 20 of these.
Yeah.
But that was a real thing for me, and so, but I didn't know that was abnormal.
Yeah.
No one told me that wasn't normal. And I still don't, I'm telling you this, I still don't know if it's normal or not. Mm-hmm. So that was at 12. At 13 or 14, I knew my worth to the marketplace. I had understood it. I was like, I need to find a way to make more money in less time. Mm-hmm. I don't know, at 13, I don't know, that was when I was like, how can I make more money in less time? So I went and got my next job. So at 13, I went and got my next job. Mm-hmm. I shout out to Mr. Lee. I saw Mr. Lee just about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. He was a black man that gave me my first job at the Hilton. We're sitting in the Hilton right now doing a podcast, but my first job, I worked in banquets.
Yeah.
So I would had a goddamn penguin suit on.
Yeah.
I had the whole thing. Had the penguin suit on and everything. And so and then after I would do the penguin suit thing where I had to serve people their food, I would then turn around and work with the banquets and set up for the next event. Mm-hmm. So I'd be moving tables.
Yeah.
All while being an athlete. Mm-hmm. So I had a job, school, athlete.
Yeah.
13. It's a lot.
That's a lot on
for a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
But it builds character.
And it definitely builds that work ethic that later on that set you up to be a whole business owner, because having that much shit on your plate, right? You always on go.
Yeah,
right. And as a business owner, you always on go. Like I was explaining, a couple weeks ago, I wake up every day, like I'm ready to put out fires, because
it happens.
That's what it is. Like,
it happens.
I'm on go every day. But yeah, that's crazy, man. You play football?
Football, middle linebacker. Was actually good. Like, college was an option. And we're going to get to that a little bit later. College was an option. Yeah.
That's
for me.
Wow.
But at 13, college wasn't even, I wasn't even thinking about it because I was just trying to survive, bro.
Because you was eating Little Debbie's.
Well, no. At 13, so you know the maturation process people go through from 12 to about, I say 16 is you go through it over that cycle of time, over that period of time. Mm-hmm. I went through it in a year because when you're in a survival, a poverty environment, you got to figure shit out quicker.
Quicker, yeah.
You don't have
days are shorter.
It's almost like when you go to the jungle and you see like the lions and tigers and stuff. Mm-hmm. If you notice, they don't rest. Like they don't sleep like that. When it's on, it's on.
Yeah.
Like when a lion wake up, he don't be like, man, I'm tired today.
They don't sleep until they eat.
You got to eat.
Yeah.
So I had to eat. Like my mom was working as a coach, business owner, all that.
Yeah.
I was like, Mama, I don't want you worrying about me.
Right.
So let me go get it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't want my mom worrying about having to take care of me. And my mom don't know this to this day, but I had already made up mentally. I was like, I'm taking care of myself. Now, at 13, you don't know what that means, but you just know you want to make some money.
Right.
I never got into the streets. Mm-hmm. I'm not even gonna act like I'm a street dude. Like I'm not gonna act like I got into street shit. Like, hey, I didn't get into that stuff. What I did get into was that my friends protected me from the streets. Mm-hmm. So they I don't know how they knew, but when they would do bad stuff, I'm doing it with them.
Yeah.
But it was a certain level of bad stuff that they would do that it was like, nah, Kevin, you can't come on this trip.
Right.
We finna go kill somebody.
Right. This is not the trip for you, Kevin.
Yeah. So they wouldn't take me on those. This is
a murder mission.
They wouldn't take me on those trips. And so with that, I understood that man, I just gotta stay in my lane.
Yeah.
So at 13, I went for my next job, and that was working with Mr. Lee. But then 14 happened, and that's when my depression, that's when my cognitive dissonance went crazy. Like, that's when I was like, what the hell is this? Imagine going from poverty directly to like mansions. Because that was my dad's life. And I say mansions because that's what I felt when that was my feeling and my perception when I went there. It wasn't, now it's not a mansion, right. But imagine going from living in $6,000 homes. Now the house is $300,000 or $200,000. Right. Like now, I think now I can't even. Well, now you can look up. Now their home is worth like $300,000. Yeah. Or $200,000. But at the time it was worth like $150,000, $175,000. Yeah. In the 90s, in the early 2000s, in the 90s, early 2000s, that's a jump. You go from a shack to a mansion.
I mean, fuck, that's still a jump, right? You go from that's night and day.
I went from a shack to a mansion.
That's night and day.
I went from seeing dogs like searching for water because they thirsty because they owner didn't feed them that day, and they ain't ate for like 3 or 4. Man, I remember I used to see dogs in the hood that I know for a fact didn't eat for like 3 weeks because you can see their ribs. And they running down the street. And I'm like, this is a dog. Yep. Imagine going from a dog like that to where they feeding dogs out they fuck. Nah, I can't. You feeding dogs at your hand. Like they were feed at my dad's house. The dog was eating better than people that I saw in the hood. Yeah. That's a culture shock. Yeah. For me, because I wasn't used to that. Like I wasn't used to coming home and the air conditioning being on. I wasn't used to coming home and the lights being on. I'm like, when I come home and I used to see the lights out, I'm thinking in my mind, did mama pay the light bill? Right. They should forget to pay the light. When I used to go home at my dad's house and the lights would be out, it was because they just cut the lights off. Right.
Like, no, we just turned off all the lights.
Because it's time to go to bed. Right. I didn't know a difference. As a kid, as a 14-year-old kid, all I knew, I was like, man, this don't make sense to me. In this environment I'm in right now, I'm not used to it. And honestly, I built up a lot of resentment for that environment, and it made me hate that environment. I hated it. I hated that environment. And even though it was great for my growth, as a kid, you don't understand that. So that's when I went for my third job. I became a server or a waiter at Denny's. This is where I built my sales skills, or my soft skills. Parents, get your kids around other people and kids, because there's so many kids now who don't have any soft skills. Your kid doesn't know that it's respectful to look another person when they're talking to them at their direction. They look away like this, like, no, I'm talking to you. Right. It's a lot of disrespectful kids.
About soft skills, what he means is people skills, basically. Like, being personable and being able to, hold an intelligent conversation and
not look at your phone. Right. I see so many kids, you'll be talking to them, looking at, and adults do it too now, looking at their phone. Yeah. Like you're not even there. Yeah. Those are the skills that's going to pay dividends. Because you got to be able to sit in rooms with people, not computers.
Not computers.
Like, $1 million deals are not made with computers.
Hey, look.
Now, computers are make millions, but you're not making $1 million deals just on a computer.
Like, that audit we did, like, we had to pull up.
And sit there. And work with people.
And talk to people.
The payroll audit. We do payroll audits, too. So if you seeing us right now, we got a whole tax firm. Yeah. Payroll audits, taxes, tax strategies. Financial literacy classes. Like, this didn't just start this year. I've been doing this. And then Josh kind of was like, Kev, I see what you're doing. Hey, me too. That's the real Me Too movement. Me too.
That's a whole different Me Too. Hey, we got to copyright that one.
But that was the play. And so once I understood that at 14, this was also when I had came into, maturity. I want to start dating girls. And I had met what would be my future wife during that time frame. So we're going to get to that in book 2. So at 14, I married my high school sweetheart. Man. It's a whole nother, that's book 2. At Denny's, let me tell you at Denny's. So I want to put this into perspective for you all.